The key to organizing Alere order document files is organizing the document in a way that makes the most sense for you. For instance, you can basically assign them all to a single customer location or a single customer location, customer by location record. In the case of something like McNichols or McMaster, where there's multiple locations, you can have a folder location for each, or a folder for each location for each customer. Or else you can break it down even further and have a folder for the documents for every single order. This video I'm about to show you now is organized in such that way where I actually have a folder for each order itself, because you maybe have 7 or 8 or God knows how many documents associated with each order. And I'll show you in a minute how it's organized, and then in a minute after that, show you how you can access it, how quickly it can be accessed if you do it that way. So this is also, you can kind of have food for thought and think about how you want to organize your folders and your various documents for each order. Before we go ahead and get a scanner and do all that stuff, you got to think it through a little bit, and that's what this is about, to kind of whet your appetite and come up with some ideas. So with that said, I'm going to open up File Explorer. This is my Alere folder here. And what I did was I created a folder called Order Documents within the Alere folder. I'm going to double click that now. And in this process, I'm thinking you could have a subfolder under Order Documents for every single customer. In this case, 7220, of course, is McMaster. 7230 is McNichols. Now, I've done a little bit of work with 7220 so far, with McMaster. If I double click on that, you can see I've got a location or a subfolder for every single location for that particular McMaster customer. Taking it a step further, I've got an order I created that my guess is, or for illustration anyway, I'm assigning it to customer location 7 for McMaster. And then finally, I've got an order here, which I'll illustrate for you in a second. It's Darby order number 1022-1907. So I created a subfolder called 1022-1907. So in this case, we started out with order documents. I'm now over to 7220, which is McMaster. I'm at location 7 for McMaster, which is one of their locations in Georgia. And then finally, I've got an order at 1022-1907 as Darby order number within location 7. If I double click on this location, it shows you a bunch of files that we will have scanned in associated with this order. Now, that being said, let's take a look at what this looks like in Alere. If I go now to Alere, and I'm going to bring up an order, and here it is. It's 70052 for McMaster car, but you can see the Darby order number is 1022-1907. All right, if I click on line items now, and I go to the Note 01, Notes, notice memo is capital M. That means I can double click on it and see content. And now here are the links to the various documents. Single click on this, and here's an example of a document. You can see it's the actual order. You will see in a second. Here it is. It's that Darby number 1022-1907. I just took this. This is one of the orders you had given me months and months ago, and I just scanned it in and assigned it and put it on that location, that organized location. If I take it a step further now, here's other files that could be associated with that. Could be drawings, schematics. This is going to be a PDF. And then in reality, these documents are just examples. They don't have anything to do with this particular order, but they would. In real life, you would scan whatever documents you wanted. I'll close this up for the time being. The key is whatever documents are in here under order 1022-1907, under location 7 for McMaster. McMaster's a 720 number. Here's all the orders associated with that, or all the documents associated with it. And they would all be available from this spot right here, attached to the order. So hopefully that's clear. You may not want to take it that far. You may not want to have a separate folder for every single order. I just wanted to illustrate how you could do it if you wanted to. You could have one for every customer location. It's entirely up to you. But you can see in this case, I've got a folder location for every order, which, by the way, I can automatically create for you. You'll have to scan it with the new scanner we're going to get. We have to scan all the documents in, but I can automatically, for instance, when an order, I could set your files up. So we have, if I go back here, under order documents, I can create a location, a subfolder under order documents for every single customer you have. Taking it a step further, I can create a folder, subfolder for every single location for every single customer. And then as new orders are created, I could create yet another subfolder below that for every single Darby order number that gets generated. So you wouldn't have to do all that setup work with folders. Now, once that was done, you would have to scan it and assign the particular folder location where you wanted scanned documents to be. But I can automatically create all these subfolders for you if you think that's how it should be organized. And really, for any way you want it to be organized, I can help you get those all set up. So hopefully that's clear, and we can discuss this, further and whatnot. But I think this video will, at least a picture or a video in this case, is often worth 1,000 words, and kind of illustrating how we can organize things to make it as most effective as possible. Again, creating all these folders for you does a lot of the work. The only thing you have to do then is make sure you select the right folder when you scan and save the files associated with each order.